Yeah, hello and good evening for our third session, uh, presential session. And we have a couple of people here in the room. And we are going to focus on global talent management in Latin America. So I have prepared roughly 30 slides, 35 slides. And the point is that global talent management is a very important topic, especially in this Latin American area. And in this case, also, we are going to look at what kind of tools actually companies are using or employing, what are recruiting strategies or selection, perhaps what kind of gap is there of global talents in this Latin American countries, because at the end, because of the skills gap, some companies can also not grow because they are lacking important competences that we will speak about. So we speak about challenges, trends, best practices, and on the other side, also on how to optimize your human resource management strategy. So yeah, there are a couple of regional challenges in LATAM, and the main problem is also that many employees are also switching their employers. And the point is also, why are there these high turnover rates? Perhaps it's also the payment, or there are no possibilities of growing, developing, and perhaps there are even not enough positions. And this is at the end something to look at. Yeah, skills gap. What skills are relevant? I mean, when we do intercultural management, or when we are dealing with other countries, for sure, language proficiency. I mean, many companies are making business not only in the LATAM area, but also with Europe or with Asia. So English language skills are very relevant. And on the other side, also, we have, for sure, in Mexico City, we have a multicultural population, but sometimes even in companies or at universities, you have 90%, 95% only Mexican students, graduates. And so it's perhaps for some companies, it might be attractive to work for an international company in Mexico City. But on the other side, also, the point is that at a specific level, it's relevant to have good English skills, negotiation skills, and also to know how to expand the company abroad. So, I mean, how to do market selection, market entry modes, how to adapt your product or service, upgrading, downgrading the products. So, no, I mean, at the end, it also depends on what kind of price do you have. No, because at the end, it's like Volkswagen needs to adapt their prices to Mexico. No? So when you see that usually the cars in Germany, they start with 8,000 or 9,000 euros more, the basic model. So you need to, because of the purchasing power parity, you need already have some kind of offers that is in alignment with local salaries. Varied labor laws, for sure, like working hours, like insurances, like all vacation days. I mean, these are all specific things, how to attract people to come to Mexico or to other Latin American countries. And this is the other. Also, what are specific industries doing? So how is it to work in retail or in tech or in manufacturing? For sure, we know that we have a lot of production facilities in the north of Mexico for specifically aerospace industry. We have automobile production here from mainly all players worldwide in Mexico that produce here. If it is Nissan, Toyota, if it is BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, all of them produce in Mexico. But on the other side, also to look at is this possible for local people to get a management position? Or are these perhaps even foreigners that you said, yeah, but the big birds in Germany are mostly Let me check. La Rose, let inside. So let's see, somebody's entering. And I mean, check. Yes, yes. Okay. So hello. Oh no, so just still connected. And on the other side, I mean, it's also employee dissatisfaction. No? So they're not satisfied with their work, and or the job market might even be competitive, that there are not so many positions opening that you can say, okay, even if I'm a foreigner, do I get the job or not? So let's see. Hello, somebody joined. Yeah,
my point.
so I just started, and I also recorded and I put it later into our group chat. No,
Go for it. Thank
but
you.
You can always just like give your ideas. Hopefully there will come more. As you can see in the chat, some people said they want to enter, but let's see when. So I started already. Slide number 5 out of 35. You have the slides. I shared them in the chat. No?
Vielen Dank, my point.
Vielen Dank. Super. Okay. So lack of growth opportunities also. You know, why do people quit their jobs? No, it's not only because of the money, but also about of development or growing, or perhaps doing some specific courses at IPAD, Tec de Monterrey, or Anahuac. Like, what do people invest, or they just say no, we don't want to invest in order to control better the people. No? So sometimes you have companies that said, we only work with internationals in the top positions, and the Mexicans are just like supporting. This could also be for some companies. No? So it's not that everybody wants you to grow in the company, because then you are more expensive, they need to pay more, and whatever. No? So there are many couple of other reasons for this. Yeah, let me check the next. Where are we right now? Oh, okay. So next thing, challenges in recruiting digital talents or digital transformation skills. So, I mean, we know artificial intelligence, and we also know that there are some countries which are very much ahead. No, like in Europe, it's more the Scandinavian countries, but we also know Israel usually is very advanced, or even in Singapore or in South Korea. So they are more on these digital skills, and this is also where we need to so-called upskill people. No? So one thing is reskill, upskilling, but in this case, it's upskilling. Emerging technologies. No? So how to train people on those skills. And there is a gap that we do not find enough of those. Yeah, language barriers. No? Challenges in English proficiency, bilingual talent shortages, for sure. Spanish is relevant in Latin America, also Portuguese. And we know that these languages are quite similar, but also in some ways very different. But also the way of speaking inside Latam is also sometimes different. No? So when you speak Argentinian, Spanish with Mexican and whatever, I mean, you know it better than me. Impact on global collaboration and leadership development. So do they actually have a leadership program in English, or only in Spanish, that you said, okay, it's good, but when I want to reach a specific level, I also need to know about regional challenges. No? So the way the communication is in Germany, or the way it is negotiated in different parts, this you need to learn. This doesn't come overnight, so you also need a specific training. And the point is also, what kind of schools offer you training? Now, I mean, we have here, for example, we have EGADE attracts some international students, IPADE attracts some students. ITAM, I don't think so. It's more on economic, but they also have an MBA with Sao Paulo and with Chile, with Santiago de Chile. So you have some programs of some elite schools, but the normal schools, they don't offer this. No? And when you want to enroll a student in those executive education, it's also very costly for the company. No? So when you pay 30, 40,000 for an employee, and this course costs you 600,000 or whatever. So you also need to think about, is it worth to spend the money on this person? Now, it's also a matter on return on investment. So you spend money, and perhaps the person said, thank you for the course, and next year I'm going to another company. So the point is, also at the end, how do you keep your best talents in your company? So the retaining is also very tricky. So what kind of benefits do you give them? Like vacation days or traveling days? I mean, these are all issues. When you compare it to Europe or to Germany, you would say it's not attractive to work here, and perhaps even in other countries as well not. And this is something like, how do you get talents here? No? And this is at the end a question for many companies. Also, not only the way from LATAM to US or to Europe, but the way from Europe or US to LATAM. And how can you achieve this? Because at the end, it's also a lot of business here, but people must also say, hey, I have a good lifestyle here, I know, but I need additional costs for security, I need a car, and whatever. And this is a matter on, is the company paying for it or not? Okay, yeah, cultural differences in management style. No? It's more hierarchic here in Mexico or in Brazil. When you look at, for example, more egalitarian structures like Netherlands or perhaps even Canada or Germany, it goes a little bit more into egalitarian. I mean, Norway, Sweden. So this is also something to adapt. No? And even when talents come here, so when German managers come here, they also need to say, oh, I need to be more authoritarian. I need to more decide what is at the end perhaps a good development. But when they move back to Germany, they would say, hey, what are you doing here? You need to involve us in the decision making. You cannot say top down, I decide this and I do not get involved you. Now, centralized, decentralized decision making. I mean, these are massive parts where we also need to see it. Is it even similar from Brazil to Mexico, or how different is it in Chile or in Puerto Rico or other Spanish-speaking countries? Who can more easily adapt to the Mexican culture? Is it an Argentinian? I mean, we go outside. We have a lot of Argentinian restaurants here. And yesterday I've heard from a colleague, all promotion people are Argentinian. Is it correct? They come here. So, okay, but these are lower positions. Now you could say, okay, we can take the Argentinian, but they are not happy to go to Mexico and not being a leader. They're being like in operations. And this is something to think about. How do you attract a good person from Brazil to say, hey, not Sao Paulo, I like Mexico City. So this is the question of this course today or of this session today. How can you actually do it? How can you get a person from another country to Mexico City? We know US people are here, but they are here with US dollars. They are not here with Mexican pesos. And this is a different issue. So how can you attract here? I mean, to bring a German here is not, it's not working. It's 7 hours difference. I mean, okay, you need to be very early bird to have an 8 o'clock meeting with Germany. So it's 1 o'clock here at night or in the morning, night, however you call it. So this doesn't work. But you have a range of 4 to 5 hours in the LATAM area. Now, when you are in Tijuana, you have it, and when you are in Sao Paulo. So this is a range of 4 or 5 hours. It depends on the winter and summertime. So the point is, how can you attract somebody to come here? Now we speak about LATAM here. We speak not about Americas, but about the LATAM area. Differences in labor regulations in Brazil, and also perhaps in Mexico. No? So this has an impact on how do you recruit, how do you train, what about compliance? Now, I mean, I can tell you, I have a lot of experience also in Brazil. I mean, they have a lot of conflicts of different skin colors and whatever. So this is also difficult about how you are making your announcement of a job. Now, so, I mean, we know when you apply in the United States, are you Caucasian? Are you Latino? I can tell you in Germany, this is forbidden. I mean, because of the history, you cannot ask if somebody is black or white or whatever. I mean, this is part of our history, but this is the same here. How can you adapt this? And I know in Brazil, it's also not so easy to do it, or it's also against the law because they have also these conflicts. Huh? I mean, these are small things, but you are here in HR and Recursos Humanos, and you know also about what can we announce and what can we not announce. And what are the qualifications? No? In Germany, they give you a profile. And in Germany, we have a specific term. So you need to be, be a chicken you need to be a cat, you need to be a dog, and you need to be something like a swine. So you need to have everything. You need to be 35 years with 10 years of leadership position. You need to speak 4 languages, and this is what they search for. But at the end, nobody has these criteria. So it's a signaling. So people signal, and some people apply and some people not. Some people said, hey, I don't fulfill all criteria. But this is where they said, okay, but those people that said, I fulfill 3 out of 5, let's go for it. Those people they take. So it's called a signaling. Many people will not apply because they didn't have the requirement. Some other people said, I can learn it. Let's see if they will invite me. And this is also something like, which is perhaps adapted to Mexico or to Argentina. So how to not get 1,000 applications, but how to get 100 where we have 40 profiles which are good. So it is a signaling, a principal agent problem in this case. Remote work adoption. What about home office? We know that many companies, if it is SAP or Microsoft, they said, yeah, but now you need to return back to office. It was during COVID and everybody was happy, more or less happy. And now they said, no, you need to come back at least 1 or 2 days, mandatory. You can stay some days at home, but you also need to check in. These are also things. And perhaps even from country to country different. We talk about talent management. We talk also about how to attract a person. When somebody said, I need to check in 5 days every day, they would say, hey, no, I had a lot of freedom. I have kids at home. I do my work. I do overtime. But how attractive is it to be here when you don't have a home office? For example, these are small things, but at the end, we always want good people to apply. So you need to think about this. Regional tech hub growth. Also, where are specific areas like Monterrey area or Guadalajara? For sure, sometimes we need to be in attractive cities or beach city like Cancun or Puerto Vallarta that is cool. We have companies there, and we also have a good work-life balance. Could also be that you said, I want to be in whatever. So different cities where you said, it's cool to live here and it's cool to work. And I would like to work even longer because I live in a nice place and I can go out, I can have some drinks. Most of you know I live also in Condesa, Roma Norte. It's an international area, but this is also attractive to live. I take more time home from the university, but at the end, I have in 2 kilometers around me, I have 50 restaurants. So this is something also relevant. And I can give you some information from Germany. So we have a lot of companies that are called hidden champions. And there is some research from Professor Simon. Where are those hidden champions located? And most of them are not in big cities. They are in rural areas. For some people, it's not attractive. You say, oh, I need 2 hours to go to Frankfurt, and it's not nice here. But they are together. It's more family-based. And those companies are actually active in 50 or 60 countries. So these are hidden champions. Hidden because sometimes you don't know the product. Do you have an example of a hidden champion? Yeah. Yeah.
By way of marketing for information, and I don't know.
Yeah. Sewing or whatever. Yeah, sewing. Yeah, 8,000 people. You have we have a German guest here today, also, and and Serafin, Serak Wiesner. Okay, yeah, Serak Wiesner, and we have 2,000 of those companies in German-speaking countries, and you also must say, is it attractive to live there? Is it attractive to work? I lived in Chihuahua before. There is desert area, but there are also a lot of maquilas there around, even 50, 80 kilometers outside Chihuahua, and how to attract people to go there. And there are French companies there producing, German companies, US companies, even from Tesla, they have something in Chihuahua, because I get to know a person that works there. Yeah, so I mean, this is the point. The point is also to think about your company and how attractive is actually the location. So we just like to make some advertisement, but Anahuac has a campus in Cancun, and this is also attractive for students to go there. That's cool. And this is something like you also need to think about. Remote work statistics, shifts in human resources, benefits of working remote in LATAM. Is it possible? And does the employer allow it? I know in Germany there are like restrictions. You can go. There is a bank. It's called Commerzbank. It's the second biggest bank, I guess, after the German bank, the Deutsche Bank, or the German bank, and they allow you to go, I think, for 2 months abroad or 3 months. I think, I'm not sure, 2 or 3 months, but that's it for the year. I mean, you can go to Gran Canaria, you can go to Spain, better weather, but it's also restricted. So they also want you to be like in 3 or 4 flight hours that you are at the office when something is happening. You cannot say I'm in a specific place and there is no connection flight or whatever. But these are requirements. Next thing is also digital skills, transformation. I'm not speaking about ChatGPT, but also about how to be more efficient in many things, how to digitalize, how to have less administration. I mean, human resource, you can even outsource a lot of things like payroll, but some things you need to do in person, and perhaps even training services. You must have perhaps a classroom like we today here, and you also need to think about it. And yeah, I mean, next thing is about bilingualism. To give English courses during work hours. This is very relevant. You cannot say, yeah, you can do it in the evening. No, in the evening you see your family. So you need, as an employer, and there are a lot of studies about it, that this upskilling on language skills must be during working hours, and otherwise there's not much motivation and extra time, and this is not good, and this is nothing what people appreciate on the long run. Yeah, recruitment on the other side also, what are your competitors doing? How attractive? So these best place to work rankings, for sure, also attracts companies here. Yeah, one more here, emphasis on soft skills development, EQ development, communication skills, leadership skills, resilience. These are very relevant things. And how would you measure it when you have a person that you said, okay, the person is always sick, it's getting cold outside. These are some clear indicators. When people are not coming to work or not submitting their things on time. Yeah, on the other side, soft skills and training. I mean, at the end, also what I do in my Friday classes, as you know, soft skills, and then also to see, this is typically Mexican, this is typically German, in order to understand what is the culture background. Yeah, I would like to ask you, Fausto, would you like to comment on some of those things, perhaps?
Please. Yeah, it's very important, audience, that sometimes we need to go further than that. When you mention the color of skin or where they're from or whatever, yeah, sometimes it could be very harmful for the company we're working for or for the customer we're working for. And as well, be conscious that sometimes the wording that you're using could be dangerous as well. In terms of company fit, for some of them, they're very conservative. For others are extremely radical and progressive. So we need to speak their language. We cannot be like one size fits all in human resources. We need to be chameleons and work upon the business objectives of each of our companies/clients.
Yeah, but I mean, you're also responsible for talent management, no? Or
Exactly. That's what I mean. When you're
Yeah,
in the
but
interview,
tell me something specifically. So tell me something about your job here, perhaps in
let me tell you, I
Mexico.
have a panaderia, a breading house, a bakery,
Yeah,
where my clients are extremely conservative. They don't like to have anybody in their payroll with tattoos, con, con tatuajes. They
yeah,
don't like to have them, and only the ladies are able to use earrings, and they have to be married, Roman Catholic, and completely with families, with kids, because they have a lot of problems in the past with single persons working together. I mean, single persons with married people working together, they start having an out of the marriage relationship. So that's the reason that they told us that. Also, they participate openly on the Catholic uh,
church.
groups. I would like to say laicos, but I didn't find the word in English.
Yeah,
They like to be participant on their churches, so they're extremely conservative on that. No abortion type. If they ask on the interviews when they're the candidates are there. There's ladies if they have aborted, if
I
they or
understand.
for the males, if they have been cheating their couples, could be boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. They not tolerate that. So for that extreme, it's extremely tough right now, just with the earrings or with the tattoos. Going for the other side, and let me tell you, half of the candidates that we send them, they just do not return. So in that case, the diversity and talent is not there, but it's our
Yeah.
client. So we need to adapt in a very tough way to accomplish what the client wants against what the business wants, against what our consultant needs that we have.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. No, I mean, this is at the end when you are recruiting or looking for specific people. It's you have already a very small market. No, I mean, there are a lot of knockout criteria, and I mean, people just want a job, and perhaps they tell a story, and then when they later found out, it's also not good for anybody. No, so this even will raise up more conflicts.
That's
I mean,
correct. Yes, that's
no,
correct. That's why I mentioned the wording. Sometimes even the words that you said could be harmful to
yeah,
the clients. Could be harmful for the candidates as well.
yeah.
I
No,
mean, even I've been told if the company that I'm working for has to deal with a military agency or government. So if they work with them, they will not work for that company. To that extreme, I received that feedback from candidates on an interview. To that extreme. Okay. And it was funny because this company was completely farm oriented for packing and milk extraction. So even the candidates asked me that on the interview.
would you even say that inside Mexico there are some main differences? I mean, I know that, for example, Chihuahua was quite conservative. For example, no, I mean, Chihuahua is
Yes.
like a rancho. No, it's a very small.
Depend, even on the cities, even in if you compare Chihuahua with Ciudad Juarez, they're
Yes,
totally different mindset on that.
yes,
Juarez is extremely liberal, and Juarez is conservative.
yes.
And Chihuahua is conservative. I mean,
Yeah, Chihuahua. Yeah,
the Bajío, Celaya, León, Salamanca are extremely conservative if we compare to the northern borders or the beach towns on the
yes.
Pacific or the Caribbean. They're completely different on that. Um,
How are they? How are they in the Caribbean there? So Cancun
I mean,
area and
Cancun, Tulum, etc., where you can hire basically whatever is on the market because the offer is so high, and they don't care if you're from certain group or certain preference, sexual preferences. They don't care. And maybe in Central Mexico, maybe they have to say yes. They stayed off of
yeah, I understand.
that candidate pools. And
Would
let me
you?
tell you, the papers in Mexico, and everybody who finished schools on the 80s here in the conference might know that the positions on the paper were posted indicating they have to be in private university. Their study has to be in on private universities. To that
Yeah,
extreme, that difference occurred on the 80s, publicly
yeah.
speaking.
Ibero, Tec de Monterrey.
Anahuac, Itam, etc.
Anahuac, Puebla, Udla.
Yes, correct.
I
To
understand.
that extreme.
But what would you say about when we speak about the topic of global talent, even, no? Or let's say about LATAM talent. So what would you say? What industries get the best profiles here in Mexico? So specific industry like pharmaceutical or international company. Do the international companies get the most brilliant people? Or
Yes,
would you even say
absolutely.
it's Bimbo or it's CEMEX?
I have to say yes. The employer branding is very important for the persons who are applying. They rather prefer to work in Pfizer or Ford Motor Company compared to Industrias Fernandez S.A.D.C.B. Absolutely, you're going to be trying to work there. Coca-Cola, very known makeup brand, an airline, industry, Unilever, Procter and Gamble as well. So yeah,
but why do they go there? Because of the salary, of the benefits, of the vacation days, or
the whole thing, the products, the name of the company, the awards given to the company, the products offered by the company. It's a complete package. So that's why they get the best. But let me tell you, number one is pharmaceutical. Number two is technology, and then the other
pharmaceutical technology. Okay,
technology and consumer goods are my top three. The talent is going and driving to. In a small tier below could be oil and agro that are always searched too. You know, the oil industry, sometimes they pay extremely well, sometimes not. They have to move to the oil fields or where the cities are located for. But also in food, you know, Latin America, it's typically growing on the primary economy. So it's basically crops
yes.
And the fruits and development on the agricultural side is great in all the countries. So that's also a great employer for many of them. And the third one is general services. When I work in the federal government in Mexico, I work in Infonavit. And when I travel all across the states, I ask them who is the biggest employer who are giving the apportations and the deposits to the Infonavit. And in more than 4 states, Walmart, it's the number one employer, Walmart. And we know their salaries are not the best, but certainly they have a major employment offer in many states. Imagine there are even a state like Oaxaca and some others that the biggest employer is Walmart. To that extreme. So retail also is a major employer in Mexico. You can be on the formal and informal economy, and you can be working on retail. And benefits, they don't have compared to the others, to the first segment of pharma and technology. So, but they offer a job. They offer a job in the end. So you have to be very competitive to get them. And these are replicated mostly in all countries. Retail in Latin America is a huge employer.
Well, what can another question, because you analyze them, like where is the most attraction, where is the best employer branding, but what can actually Mexican companies do in order to say, okay, I mean, Bimbo is very well positioned. I think also when you look at the Mexican brands, also perhaps Lala or CEMEX, Herdes.
Yes.
So what would you say? What do they need to do in order to keep those Mexican graduates and that they not apply for those Ford companies, pharmaceuticals? So what do they need to do?
Oh, absolutely, is to improve their branding for the employment, not for the products, for the employers. That they can post that they're a great place to work or super empresa certificated company. A lot of articles, blogs talking about their companies, what they have. Okay. Let me give you 2 examples that perhaps are not very well known. In Aguascalientes, DM Nacional, which is a supermarket car and gondola metal mechanic in the end, Well, they create basically all the metal supermarket cars in Mexico. They even have a fair, attraction park, amusement park within the premises for their employees. They have a Wheel of Fortune, they have a merry-go-round to that extreme. The food is excellent. And this is even before the Googles exist. So there are a lot of companies that attract people with that kind of benefits. When I work in Ford Motor Company, we try to get the most of their family so they can become the Familia Ford, the Ford family. And they have classes, they have sporting events, sport junior leagues. So they're the worker families can go there and practice a sport or a craft or a hobby, and that works great when we need to hire 9,000 employees on the plant in Cuautitlán 30 years ago. That's an example. But in other ones, I guess the Googles has raised the bar so high. Okay. But in other terms, the small and medium companies has been very well maintained their the attraction due to the fact they report to the owner, and the owner treats them as part of the family. So you go for the super extreme of the major companies, corporations, big ones, to the smaller ones. So that's our two examples that could be very well structured, so everybody can learn from that examples. The Googles, the M Nacional, and the small companies, which the owner takes them as part of their families and treat them as family. Okay.
So perhaps even to connect more companies with ANAWAC, perhaps, no, to involve them in the course, or that students get to know their products, like you said. No? So I guess sometimes perhaps it's even the money of not having advertising or social media campaigns, and it's like mouse to mouse. No, I mean, it depends for sure. I mean, when you are at ANAWAC and you are paying a lot of money, for sure, there is also an expectation that you go to a huge company. No? I mean,
yes, sure.
I mean, when you pay a lot of money for education, I mean, you don't say, I mean, or you do your own startup, perhaps, because you are financially.
Yes. And let me take another point that it's important, and I guess all our audience might be agreeing with this.
Yeah.
After the COVID disaster, a lot of employees quits, and they only wants to work close to their home or at home. So that's a major point to improve in Mexico. In Latin America, if you can work at home, there's a lot of segments that kind of grows in human capital. As you know, most of the Latin American female workforce, they retire when they start to being mothers, or in the second or third circuit, they're totally get off of the labor market, even though they have master degrees, they have experience in good companies, etc. So with that, with the telecommuting, with working at home, or even a hybrid environment, we can improve that a lot. And many people don't like to commute. So if we offer that, we can increase that and have that staffing part with a check mark and get the resources as soon as possible, faster and better.
I understand, but what would you give? What kind of precise strategy, like being 2 times in a week in a company and 3 at home, or so?
Yes, I guess the 2, 3. I guess, as you mentioned, that's a great mix. 2 days at home, never Friday, never Monday, unless there's something special for that day, for
I mean, the best example. And, I mean, it's not Latin America, but it is the Starbucks boss. No? You know, he has 2,000 miles to go. He lives completely different where there is the headquarters of Starbucks. I mean, he's a CEO and takes a flight, or is it by car? They told he's going by car, but I don't imagine this. But this is also an example. No? I mean, they make a contract with a person who's not really there. I know. At German universities, they make these contracts. They say, if you want to be a professor here, you must have here a flat, and you need to show approval that you live here. They don't want people that just like go always. I mean, what you do at the weekend is okay, but you must have a permanent residence in the city, you're actually a professor. I mean, these are some funny examples, but I can see it more and more in Germany when I saw these job announcements. Yeah, okay. I mean, this flexibility, no? So this, yeah. So I mean, I can understand the commuting time here, especially in huge cities like Monterrey or Guadalajara or Mexico City. I mean, it's crazy, no? No,
Yeah.
as you can see, a couple of people are not here today in the presential meeting, and they said, "Yeah, let's come." And this is also an indicator. No? So I mean, at the end, there needs to be there needs to be a different day, like Saturday, where people can more easily come and are not in the traffic after work. No?
That's correct. That's correct.
Let me move on with some slides, and then we have an interaction here with you, and you give some examples that you can share, especially. No? But for example, you have some global tech hub. No? I know, for example, in Belo Horizonte there is a lot of technology. Perhaps where is in Mexico most tech hubs located?
Guadalajara. I have to say Guadalajara is a hub.
Yeah. So also being attractive there. Argentina, I don't know if it is in Buenos Aires or Cordoba or anywhere. No?
Yeah,
so
Buenos Aires, yeah.
We always have this. I mean, Sao Paulo, I can tell you, I mean, I was a professor in Sao Paulo in the city center. I mean, these were the elite students also of all over Brazil. And for sure, they have English courses. But I can tell you, there were 3 or 4 universities that offered 3 or 4 years ago a complete program in English. And this is Brazil. So language issues is a big issue there. And many people don't have the chance to get this education. It was also very expensive. And also there are, like, I think you know Natura, the cosmetic giant. They have an own room around, an own teaching room was by Natura. Then they had one from the oil company. So they sponsor teaching rooms, salas, and also are there in order to attract students. I mean, it is how it is. So I guess the point is to connect more universities with companies, and even to know something about the education. I mean, for sure, Anahuac has also some good courses or master course in human resources. But at the end, also, this needs to be in alignment what actually companies needs. No? And then to have some company projects. And I think this is relevant. I mean, I can tell you, Germany has 95% small and medium-sized companies, 95. And I guess in Mexico is even the same. So the point is, we always teach students on multinationals, but the huge companies are small and medium-sized, with maximum 250 employees, 50 to 250. So this is the biggest range in Germany. And this is at the end something we need to educate, and we need to give them an internship. And people can learn a lot, even in small and medium-sized companies. No?
Yes, yeah. Also,
yes,
the internship, I guess, is a great opportunity that we need to advise in Mexico, even that the prior government have a strategy for that. They're paying for the interns instead of the companies can have that tax break, and they can pay directly to the interns, and they can have a better understanding of the employers, not the government. The employer, it's the company that they're hiring them for this internship. So that might help. In Brazil, it's completely working perfectly. In Colombia for years as well. So yeah, that could be an option that you can be hired.
So this internship we don't have in Mexico anymore?
Yes, we do have it, but it's paid by the government and it's limited. It's not like you can participate in the program, but it's limited. It's not like wide open the enrollment. So and they send you the resource, so you cannot choose them. So imagine the change needs to be that you can choose the resource, and you have to pay it, and then you have the saving on the tax bracket or the tax exemption for the payment of that. Yeah. So, but it's just brand new. It has been operating for 6 years with many improvements to be done on that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't put in here these precise companies, but there are a couple of case studies for sure that show how to establish a good program or how to upskill. I mean, this is a little bit also of my approach, like bringing people together. That somebody said, "Oh, I cannot afford this player. I cannot afford an EGADE course," but you can do a course with 10, 50, 20 companies and say everybody pays less in order to upskill those people. No? I mean, as a network approach, I think is relevant that also some companies gets more attractive and also upskill and also that those make a career. No? And this is some things you can do. Yeah. Let me check next one. Local leaders. Okay. Bridging cultural gaps with targeted training programs. I mean, at
Yeah.
the end, you also need to focus on customized training. So what does Fausto need? What does Alfonso need? Or Mike here? So, also in the rooms. This is also relevant. So the assessment and to look at exactly what is the next step. So what are we going to do with you in the next 2 or 3 years? Will you get a team leader position? Will you get promoted as a LATAM manager? So there's also like what are the next steps? So I would like to give you an example. So I think that you know the company Henkel. Henkel is a company from my hometown, and they have washing powder and they have adhesives.
Adhesives, yeah.
So all adhesives from Henkel are in each smartphone, just like for you. Perhaps you didn't know that, but actually inside there are only adhesives from Henkel, and they have a so-called triple two approach. So they look for specific people like, oh, you must have at least work experience in 2 different business functions, like you work in finance or you work in marketing. This is one of the triple two. The second one is you must have at least experience within 2 kinds of product, like adhesives and washing powder. And the third triple two is you must have at least work experience in 2 countries outside Germany. When you require this triple two, you are going to have a regional position. So you will lead EMEA, European, Middle East, Asia. So they have a specific talent management program also for global leaders. And this is relevant to have this transparent in companies like, oh, when you want to be a team leader, you must have at least these leadership courses, 1, 2, 3. You must have an emotional intelligence survey of 70%, whatever. So I think that companies also needs to be more attractive in their transparency, like when do you get promoted? I mean, for sure, there needs to be an open position, but this needs to be institutionalized, like saying, oh, this position you can only get when you have work experience outside Mexico, for example, or if you have a B1 English level, because this motivates people to scale up or to upskill and to make a career. So I think that this institutionalization needs to be very transparent and that everybody knows, hey, cool, now I get more money because I got 2 or 3 certificates. And this is what companies also, to my point of view, needs to implement. So how would you respond on this? Let me get a new water, but I listen to you. Please, do you think this works or do you think not?
Absolutely, it works. But certainly you need to have the money to invest on that. But you can go smaller, not only for, what you mentioned that we have a checklist for positions so we can advance. Yeah, we can do that in any type of company, in any size and any budget company. We can do that. But certainly you need to be aware that it has to be in space or in a development vocation of the owner or for the management to make this happen. Okay, and sometimes it's not because it's the family first when there's a medium family company, or is a huge one. Sometimes there are positions that cannot go abroad. The manufacturing ones, the maintenance positions. Sometimes you might have some benchmarking with other places, plants, facilities, geographies. In some positions you might, in some others don't. Okay, I was discussing, for example, for a very common job position like a secretary or assistant, that they might be participating on the same development program as all the salesperson or engineers or else management programs. And sometimes the mindset of the management say no, why they need to have that mobility, that mindset change. Sometimes we have to work there so we can improve and go for the next level. So
I know that sometimes also in Germany that companies exchange their talents, and this could even be different industries. They do it like for 2 or 3 months. Like I give you an example for Mexico, it would be you work for Bimbo and now you work for Cemex for 3 months. You give me 3 people and I give you 3, and they exchange. Like to broaden the mindset, it's a complete different business, and in order to perhaps it's not even the same city, perhaps, but this one. I give you another example. What PricewaterhouseCoopers is doing. They have I mean, I don't know if this program still exists, but this is called the Ulysses project. So what are they doing? They take talents and they said, hey, we sent you to Africa, to Ghana, and we sent you for 6 weeks, and you don't know the language, and you need to build up electricity and water. So something what you never did in your life before, because they throw them into the cold water. And this is on a project base of 6 weeks. They give you a team leader position on an area you don't know, but you have a 6 weeks project with a specific day of starting and with a specific day of ending. And this is what they do. They put people out of their comfort zone in those projects. And this is a service-oriented, a service learning project. I don't know how, there's a specific term. I don't know, right? I think it's service learning. But this is out of the box. And this is like, how flexible are the mindset? Do they give up? Do they go home after 1 week? They said, hey, I don't like the heat here. I have a problem with my breathing or whatever. So this is what they try on identifying who's talent, who can be a leader and who not. It doesn't matter what topic it is. I mean, this is extreme, but they do it very successfully in the PricewaterhouseCoopers Ulysses project.
Very well.
I mean, it could be some other things, like you work with indigenous people in Mexico. You would say, hey, they don't understand me. I don't know what to do here. I mean, it's funny, but on the other side, it will change your mindset. You will look for resources. You will look to how to organize a thing. I mean, it sounds crazy, but at the end, those people are getting to know themselves very well, and also about on how they can organize things, no? And even in languages other people cannot understand. Supporting talent transfer and relocation within LATAM. I mean, this is what I said. Perhaps even doing 3 months here, 3 months there. We are doing in Germany a lot of those trainee programs that you get to know different departments, that you see a problem from the finance area, from the procurement area. No? So to let people think differently. Like I told you, the 222 approach, like to see who makes the next jump in order to understand main differences between Chile, Argentina, and whatever, that you said, okay, I know how to lead Mexicans, and even this is difficult, but what about even to do an exchange with others? And these are a couple of approaches. Upskilling, digital training, data science. I mean, these are things which are right now quite relevant.
Right.
But at the end, also, I mean, before I'm going through the slides, but tell me, how are you screening people? How are you screening talents? So are you making a talk? Do you read some leader reports? Or so how do you actually assess? I mean, it depends on the industry, perhaps, but you can give perhaps 1 or 2 examples that you said, oh, for them we do a person. Let me tell you one thing. I have a colleague here from Anáhuac today, but I can tell you, I did roughly 8 hours assessments, cognitive test, emotional intelligence test, leadership tests. I did 7 interviews. So many people saw me before I get the job. So it was a huge recruitment process. I can tell it to you. This went over 2.5 months. This was not 1 or 2 talks. It was 2.5 months till I received the job here at Anáhuac. Yeah? So many assessments with time limit, like solve this problem in 1 minute. The time goes down, bam, bam, bam. Next one, bam, bam, bam. And this was over hours. This was not like 10-minute surveys or whatever. No, this was they know a lot about me and more than I know, perhaps. I don't know. Okay, anything. No, but tell me something, please. I mean, this is a huge process for Anáhuac, no? But
yeah.
I mean, it's already a private school. Perhaps others are not doing it. But tell me something. What you say from specific industries, please.
Yes. Sometimes they have the companies already have an assessment with a case study. One of my customers is a small company, an advertisement BTL marketing company, and they already have the position for the creative department. They gave them a small case, and they go from them, and the result is compared and assessed with the leadership to see if this person has the skills to go over the limit, not just think linearly, if instead of thinking 360 degrees to please the customer. So that's one example. The other one,
what kind of case is it? A case study which is actually we have a problem right now in the company, or is it like a Harvard business case? You read 7 pages.
No, it's generated by a prior customer that they have, or an actual customer, and because they already go with this customer 3 times to get the final result, the perfect result. So with the input of the candidate, they can see if they can go for the next level or just stay on the short term or easy decisions instead of going more deeper to please the customer or enhance the result of the agency. And in the other parts, the company likes to hire the employees for 3 months and assess if they're going to be making the cultural fit, the social fit, and certainly the work-related fit in the first 3 months. And that's just with a very empiric approach of the manager or the owner. But that happens a lot, and now it's legal in Mexico. In the past, it was not. Now it is. So that helps a lot. So you can have a better resource in the start, and they've been on trial for the first 3 months as general, doing the work,
I mean, we have this in Germany. 6 months approbation time is always common to do it in every job. When you start, if you are 16 years or 66, 67, I mean, I don't think that somebody gets a new job with 66, but it could happen. 6 months in order to look if it's for both sides good. But what a specific question. In the 3 months, so they get a salary, but they don't get any benefits? No, I mean, it's just like
I don't. They might not. Could be the mix of both, or just one or the other. Depends on the company policy. Could be both, but at least you cannot pay any severance payment at the end if there is on the first 6 months, depending on the level of the candidate. Even go for a year in executives.
Okay, so first thing was case study. Second thing was here like an approbation time, like to check perhaps even if there is a cultural fit. What about assessments like personality tests or?
Oh yeah, they can do it. The customer can request it. I have a very good battery. It's called Cycle Test. It's great. It's cheap. I have the unlimited exams. You can check values, work ethics. You can have the desk assessment. We can get with that exams as well. The sales skills, leadership, intellectual IQ as well. So with that, we can have an idea how the person or the candidate are and compare them, or have a final decisions with this assessment in terms of that. And it's a normal practice. There's no restriction by law here in Mexico, and neither in other countries in Latin America. And that helps a bit to get them make the test.
But with the technology they have. Yeah. I mean, I have my experience with Anáhuac, with my position, but where are most assessments being applied? In the top management, in the middle, in the lower management? So where do people actually do those assessments? or is it independent of those levels?
No, it could be going for in the whole scale. I have customers that they do it for everybody if there's on the production line or cleaning positions to the general manager or general director or CEO.
Okay, but do you have something like when you would like to identify a talent? I mean, for sure, you look the curriculum vitae, but what do you say? How long would you assess a person for a LATAM position? So even to really like, okay, you do business with Brazil and with Mexico. So how much would you actually
It
test
should
the
be
person?
a week at least, and should be a collegiate decision done by more than 3 people. So you can take the
Okay,
decisions, and certainly they have to present the results. I can give you an example that I have before. I applied for a LATAM position in Sony, the Japanese Electronic Corporation,
oh,
and
Sony,
they
yeah, I know, I know.
yeah. They gave me a study case, and I have to develop the human resources case and present them to the Japanese management in Mexico, to the Japanese HR management in Japan, and the HR peers. So they decide why 5 candidates, what's the best, and who present the more options for the case. And I did that in Santa Fe around 15 years ago. Was a week, but certainly you have to reunite all the stuff at the same time differences, hours, to they can take the collegiate decision in this type of assessment that I received. Okay, and it's
So
go
the one question. So the
yeah,
week was you were there every day, uh, there, or you were like
just in
with
a
a
day, in a day.
huh?
Was a day of assessment, one day, complete day, 8 hours of
Okay,
assessment.
so one day was the assessment of 8 hours, and
Hours, yes,
the other one you had like to be connected with them online or
line, yes.
okay. So the 8
When
hours.
I
What
was
what did what did what did they do in the 8 hours with you?
they go, for example, the case was very complete. So you have to meet with procurement, you have to go with legal, you have to go with the production, with sales, to let them know what your strategy and sell them. So that's
Okay.
a perfect way to interview people. So when you're with the areas, they let you know how you think and work. So it was excellent way to get to see the HR
So
stand.
how many people evaluated you roughly? What do you think? I mean, you had
I guess
several,
15, at least 50.
15 or 50?
15,
15
1-5.
people evaluated you
Yeah, 1-5.
on this position for LATAM HR director or whatever, no?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So many views, many short examples, and even selling, no? I mean, even some kind of selling the approach, no? It's not
Yeah,
like only presenting, it's also just like they will ask questions, and you also need to be telling them why you would do it like that. Okay, so 8 hours, a case with a solution with the departments, then some talks with Japan, no,
yes.
with other people. Okay, what kind of feedback did they give you at the end? I mean, not about the job
No,
offer.
no, let me tell you, I guess that was a major mistake. They don't give us the feedback. They just say just one's going to be passing, he will receive the feedback. The other ones are just a thank you. So,
Okay.
yeah. So in this case, they do a great effort, but there was no feedback.
Okay, so you don't know in comparison with others how many points do you get, where were you stronger? So like a profile of yourself that you said, okay, when I have another time the same challenge, I need to get better in selling my
Yes,
ideas or presenting or whatever. Okay, I understand.
yes. And SAP, the German software company, do a very similar thing, but in a very short version, just in an interview with 3 people, but very, very similar, but in a very short version. And also, I did that in Santa Fe, in a hotel in Santa Fe.
But do you know some other examples like that you said, oh, usually in the pharmaceutical industry, they do more personality assessments or they do like this or that. Do you know some industry differences, or would you say it even doesn't care about they do all
Sometimes,
some kind of
yeah, sometimes they doesn't care. They have to be very well structured to make that happen. When I was in Nokia, we have a digital assessment for all the employees in the world in Finnish, English versions of speaking, working
Okay.
with Finn personnel, with person from Finland. Finnish, that's what I'm trying to let you know, and it's worldwide. We did it as a common practice, and works wonders when Nokia was the number one cell phone maker in the world. That helps a lot. But else to that, no. Sometimes they do assessment center. Sometimes they put you to participate in teams. But no, I guess only 10-15% really cares to have a real assessment.
Okay. Yeah, these are the points. No? So there are a couple of leadership assessment, psychometric ones, like Myers-Briggs. I think a lot of people take this, no? MBTI. You also apply this or not?
Yes, and as well depends if you have the licenses or the corporation is paying for you. But yeah, that's normal.
Hogan assessments takes a
I
lot.
have to go for 40% of the companies in Mexico, in my opinion, with my customers and with my personal experience, use these ones.
The Myers-Briggs or the Hogan?
Myers-Briggs.
The Myers-Briggs. Okay. So no, I mean this is very common. Okay, so let's focus on the next one.
Caliper sometimes, yeah, could be.
Okay, caliper. Okay, yeah. What about those competence assessment tools? DDI or Conferry? Do you know them? I mean, I know
did
them
it. I did with Conferry with great results on Nokia. Was not expensive, but certainly you need to dedicate a lot of time in the human resources side, with the management and leadership side, to hear about the candidate, compare the candidates, hear them, and go with that. I love them when we work with them in Nokia. I guess we make great general managers or great leaders in other companies due to the fact we give the feedback to the to my colleague employers with Conferry. I need to clap for that. And Lominger, what's similar, DDI as well. We work with that in other with American companies, Mattel, for example, and AT&T, and DDI is awesome as well.
Yeah.
I have not tried the other ones. Let me see with the other ones.
Do you know some of those cultural competence tools? I mean, I even have more of them. I mean, I know those.
No, not yet. No, I haven't
go
with them yet.
Those I know better because they are more from research, like IDI from Ellen Bird, and there are actually 12 tools, even perhaps more right now, and it depends on the test. As they give you also an evaluation. Let me check. Where do I have my? I will go back. Let me. Oh, did I not put them inside? I need to check. Oh, it seems not here, but no. Okay, no, but I even have more on this cross-cultural parts. But I can also show it perhaps the next time. So there are actually 60 different tools, and we had last week Basil Taras in our session. I don't know if you have checked this, but he's a guru for global virtual teams, and he's doing amazing job also on intercultural competence tools, and he analyzed 17 tools on reliability, validity, on all of these scientific scales. And this is also something I can show you. There, from those that you see here, 4, there are roughly 70, and 12 are commercial, where you pay, where you get a result. But I also did this in one of my research papers. They have a little bit of static analysis. So, for example, when you improve, when you do it 1 or 2 years later, or they don't give you development parts, what you need to do in order to get better. I know that Conferry has a book on this for your improvements on global competency. I mean, this is exactly what I also have in my platform. Like when you redo the test, you get different learning materials. So it's not a one size fits all. It's more customized within my learning management system, what I'm doing. Yeah, Brazil assessment tools focus on adaptability, emotional intelligence. I mean, emotional intelligence. I mean, I did last time the session on global competence here. Emotional intelligence is something like what top leaders need. So to invest for lower management people, it doesn't make sense. They lead only a couple of people, or they lead themselves. No, so something like lead yourself, lead a team, lead others, lead the organization. So what CCL is doing, Center for Creative Leadership, they also have a specific approach, what skills you need in specific positions or team leader or whatever. Yeah, I mean, diversity matrix, disabled workers, perhaps even also how do you implement disabled people as talents? No? I mean, perhaps they are not, they're not mobile. I mean, you know what I talk about. Do you have some examples on that?
No, nothing important to share. But I guess the normal was we need to adapt. You know, stairs with a ramp in one side. No more than that. But sometimes, let me tell you, when you receive candidates from some disabled workforce, they're
Yes.
extremely tough on the interviews and in the answers, and sometimes they like to sue you. I have an experience with wheelchairs. They make a lawsuit immediately to a sporting club, which was my client, immediately, because they don't have shower with the entrance for the wheelchair. Immediately, you know, it was the first day on the trial membership period, and he already was suing the sporting club or the gym. But else to that, no, most of it, no, nothing more than normal. There's we changed the elevators with braille. We don't have vision challenge personnel. We changed the mobility as well, but no, not at all. Okay, not a good practice to share so far.
I'm just like, wait a second, because I'm going into actually the one which I wanted to share the presentation. Let me just go.
Yes.
Because I wanted to show you the okay. Because I wanted to show you the other tools I was mentioning. Actually, wait. Here they are. I make it a little bit bigger, but you can see here are assessment tools measuring global personality traits and dispositions. So they are very valid, like Neo PIR. I mean, it's a new personality one, but also how to evaluate open-mindedness, inquisitiveness. So we speak about global competence here. There are actually a couple of assessment tools. Let me go back here. Next one is here are all the cross-cultural competence instruments. Like I told you, the 60 or whatever. So there are even more. No? So you said you don't know them, but there are actually more on the market. Global mindset inventory we had before. And actually, my tool, what I'm using in the platform, is actually some of those items I took in order to bring it into my assessments. No? So there is a lot of this part. Mexico, yeah, English, Spanish learning, technical assessments for industry 4.0, legal compliance issues, culture focus on hierarchy and family business, what you said. The family business dynamics here, especially strong hierarchy. No, I often ask my students, and your father is a boss. Are you allowed to take a decision? No. My father is doing it. I just can advise, but he doesn't give me the authority to do it.
Right.
I've read it a lot of times, so it's also complicated to make. I mean, it's not in all families for sure, but it's also Colombia. Language adaptation to regional Spanish, focus on conflict resolution, resilience. So they even need to learn different skills than Mexicans. No? When we speak about that, Argentina, here also about crisis management. I mean, crisis is the last year, but they also need to know these parts and legal framework issues of other specific trainings. Cross-cultural competences. No? Key competences for managing a diverse workforce in LATAM.
Yes.
I mean, when you are in Nestlé or Ford, for sure, you have a multicultural, in Polanco or wherever it is, for sure, you will find people from all over the world, not only Mexicans in the US, but also others, because it's an attractive employer, like you said, in Mexico City is an attractive. And this is also something like to focus on. This is what we perhaps will do in January on a Saturday course, to bring in internationals and Mexicans in a classroom and to make this competence development. Let's see if it works on our campus.
That's right.
Oh, sorry. Direct, indirect communication, no? US more direct. I mean, not as direct as Germans or Dutch, but also formal and informal language, even to read between the lines. No? And now, sometimes people don't say no. We know it also in Mexico, and but also this participative, directive leadership. So there might be conflicts even inside.
You can find out also that the Latin Americans are extremely positive in many things, unless Argentinians and Brazilians. When you ask everything is good, oh yes, great, okay, and it's not, but it's the way culturally to say yes to the authority. You have to add that too.
Yes, in Germany you say everything. You say when it's shit, and the leader knows, okay, now I can handle it, or I know what's the status, and now we are trying to solve it. So it's positive and negative, and not like that the boss said, oh, you only have negative. No, because it is just like that. This transparency will help to get things solved, no, in a team, and you can make failures for sure. You can make mistakes, and at the end, it's something like you need to communicate it. And this is the most important thing, to be transparent. Now, you can give some examples, Mike. Negative, positive. No. I have here my direct, yeah. Everything is fine. Todo bien. Yeah, no, this is the point. Polychronic, monochronic approaches. No, people do things, several things at once. And monochronic is more like doing one after the other. It's a little bit like German approach. I mean, we know that women are multitasking, but at the end, we have a clear agenda: what to talk, when to talk, what to decide. And when somebody going left and right and talks about the soccer, I mean, when there is soccer season like World Champion, people will talk about it, but usually you stay focused on the topic, and you not talk about other things. When you have a clear meeting, because you always have a person who is going one point after the other from the agenda, and to make this one we solve, now we speak about this one, and there is limited time. And so, I mean, you might have some small talk, but very limited.
Good point, Georg. That's a super major difference, yeah. But even though everybody speaks football, yeah, I need to let you know that, yeah, football, it's the same thing. Everybody came to the office and they discuss whatever. Yeah, I see that. But in terms of that agenda perspective, you might end in Mexico, Argentina, and Brazil, the deal, or what you're trying to solve on the meeting doesn't matter the time. And in Germany, Austria, and the UK, they rather prefer to shut down the session and reconvene to a brand new one and continue discussing. That's a major point that you mentioned. That's right.
Yeah, then regional variations in LATAM. No? So Southern Cone, Central America is more relationship building, family values, work-life integration. No? So more like Honduras, or going also, what is there? Ecuador also. Then the southern one, more Argentina, perhaps even. I mean, these are the Europeans, no? Of Latin America, the Argentinian. And then, I mean, Brazil is also very much on Jetino, so very much on relationship. So I have experience in Belo Horizonte and in Sao Paulo. And Sao Paulo is very much like task-oriented, like a mega city. No? So you want to solve. But in Belo Horizonte is so relationship-oriented, and nothing is moving on. So when you are outside the room, they say, okay, there was a German guy here inside. And when you come back the next time, after 6 months, you go the next steps. And in Sao Paulo, not. In Sao Paulo, I sent my CV. I had 2 talks, and they said, come on over for 4 months. We pay your hotel, we pay your flight, we pay your good salary. And that's it. This was my negotiation, but not in other areas. No? So even inside Brazil, how to deal with Cariocas, so Rio de Janeiro, or Paulistas is completely different. And the same would be perhaps even Mexico City or Guadalajara, or perhaps Monterrey.
Yeah.
I mean, you can give better examples, no, on this, like values perhaps in the north, but also I mean, tell something about different regions where you say this has an impact.
It is. It is, as I mentioned you before, it's not the same on the border towns that in the central towns or cities. It's completely different. Well, Mexico City is different to the other ones as well. And the
Cancun area,
size of the population, even though in Guadalajara or Monterrey also makes major differences on that.
Yeah, I mean, we have 4 or 5 slides, so we are nearly also coming to an end. But yeah, I mean, different industries, specific applications, like you said. Where do they do assessments? Technology sector, or like you said, also perhaps even Sony or whatever.
Oh yes.
They might also have something in common. Like where do you have a case study? Where do you have more tests? Or where do you need to follow industry standards? And that you talk about Six Sigma.
Check mark. Absolutely. Manufacturing, if you're not a lean person, you will not be working in manufacturing. No doubt about it. Yeah, ISO is like a given. It's not like it should be learned before going to work.
Step one big. Yeah, banking industry, healthcare, energy mining. Do you have some regulatory examples, perhaps? I mean, you talk about the panaderias, the bakeries, or like very traditional, but do you have some other examples on those
no,
things?
on energy and mining, I cannot give anything in my experience so far, but it's more lighter than other industries, or more strict on safety and safety awareness, and as well on security as well, because they're out of the urban sites.
Technology, infrastructure, cost and time considerations on implementations. I mean, return on investment on talent development programs. Are you doing it, or do you know that when people got some courses that you said? Oh,
yes,
I mean,
yes. But it's not like a major practice. But you have to do it. That's why you're paying to get the return on investment. But it's tough, and it's making sometimes even in years. I did that when I assessed the high potentials, all the training, all the courses, all the studies that they need to go. They have to get an MBA from the company. How long is going to be paying to have an MBA or a high performer starting to give in major results on the bottom line? Yes, I have done that, but it's not normal to apply it. Okay.
I can tell you,
my company's working or clients, you do that.
I mean, I was submitting this into our team. I don't know if you have read the paper, but I've done this with 90 program designers in German-speaking countries like Siemens or Audi or Volkswagen, and actually I was surprised that many of those, they are not applying many tools. So, for example, at Bayer, the people don't know where are people after the program, and they or Merck, the company Merck, like in Switzerland, they pay $65,000 for a program with INSEAD. So they sent them to Paris.
Wow.
And at the end, they have sent 400 people there, 400 with $65,000. So imagine this amount of money, because they had strategy workshops and other things. And at the end, I asked them, what did you do? I mean, at the end, to look, does it make sense to send them there? Or, I mean, sometimes also companies needs to do it. They said, it was nice on Harvard campus. I mean, for sure, not small companies in LATAM can do it. No, but also they say, I got an IGADE certificate, IPADE. I mean, we know at IPADE are many big companies that gives them an executive MBA. Or it's also for networking. It's not like, you got excellent teachers. For sure you have. But at the end, I mean, you don't learn something extraordinary what you didn't get anywhere else. But the point is also that people make a LinkedIn post, or here I have a Stanford certificate or Harvard or whatever. And at the end, you need to look at, now we have a certificate on specific skills. And we also ask our participants after the course, 2 or 3 months later, what can you apply? I mean, you also can do a 360-degree. Most of those are on behavioral factors, but you don't know how is the person developing cognitively, emotionally. You can even measure emotional intelligence after a course, but not many are applying those tools. And this is what I found out even with German companies. This was 2019, 2020 during COVID. I did this and I was very surprised because they spent a lot of money on those programs and they don't know where are people right now. For sure, you can even say, oh, somebody was at Bayer and now he is in a mid-sized company in the C-level. You say, hey, it's also a success. I mean, when you get this position, also, but how to measure it? How to measure that the MBA was valid 40,000. I mean, IPADE, you pay $50,000, $60,000 for IPADE MBA. Is it worth the money? Or, I mean, you can even make a network analysis. Oh, I met Fausto there and I met Mike there, and now we do business together. So, I mean, it's difficult to measure. No? So the relationship, I mean, we know in some countries, relationship is the non plus ultra. No?
Yes. Yes.
And this is also something you could measure. So like the network. So
yes.
where did the room open? Where did the room open?
The golf club or the sporting club, so you can get customers there. So that's also
but to make business together. Now, these are also some kind of things. Yeah, what are the key takeaways today? No, I mean, we are here coming to an end. Unique challenges, opportunities also, language barrier, skills gap, cultural differences. I mean, training, upskilling, but also on the other side, also what assessment tools are taking, what is regionally working and what is perhaps not working. What about compliance also between the regions? And on the other side, also, what kind of recommendations can you do? Where can you learn from other companies? Such as, oh, look, they can keep their people. The retaining of talent is very relevant. Now, I mean, it's good to give them an MBA, but when they say after 1 year, ciao, ciao, thank you very much, hasta la vista, and now they go, it's also not good. No, I mean, it's good for the candidate for sure, but for the companies, they invested a lot of money and they perhaps did never get this money back. So the point is, 2 more slides. The point is, what can you train people? Skills, abilities is already more difficult. Now, you need perhaps a coach, you need a mentor. How much do you pay for this one? To upskill, to get more emotional intelligent. I mean, some skills you can learn more easily. You can read a book, you can do, but we know that some other skills like emotional things are very difficult. And sometimes you invest money and you said it doesn't make sense. Why are we not recruiting somebody who has already those competences? No? So make or buy decision, make or buy. No? Can we do it internally or do we recruit somebody who has all the skills? And the same is here. What can you do? You can give them role plays, case studies. When you have a person who is leading in LATAM, that you said, oh, we need to send the person abroad for a couple of time, at least 6 months or whatever, in order that people get out of the comfort zone. No, like Mike here trying to establish something in Mexico, no, and to say, oh, okay, a relationship building, how to get people, where to get people. I mean, this is difficult. Now, in Germany, you have some clubs you enter or some others, for sure. But this is in a new environment. You just need to get to know it. And this is also something you need to look at. Now, so you have some kind of approaches in order to develop and grow people over the time. For sure, you can inform them. Oh, look the video. How do you interpret it? You can look at, you got a case study or, so how do you find out if somebody is adequate for a LATAM position or if somebody only leads Mexicans? And this is a way of looking at, and this was a session today about. So thank you very much. Yeah, perhaps you can conclude some parts if you want. So Fausto, was it worth to be here and to spend the time and tell me something about the learning outcome? And I'm happy that you were here, that we had some interaction and also some of your knowledge. And hopefully we will get to see more people next time. And in order to connect more and to find a time which is very convenient for everyone. Please give a little bit of the outcome of today. So where are still open questions in the topic or strategies you would like to recommend?
Good. Okay. I guess the key is to keep learning and here benchmark all across not only the region, the world. Sometimes you can have great and cheap options to do things better for the workforce or for management, for the company. Just hearing and learning. I guess you're doing a great job. And in Latin America, sometimes we learn by history, by time, not by a specific training that you are designing and giving us a chance to get the most of it. Thank you. And I guess that's the way.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we can learn from different regions. Also, Europe can learn from LATAM. Sometimes the approaches are
Middle East,
more
Africa,
like
Asia with Latin America sometimes is similar. Sometimes they're very similar.
yeah,
Religion oriented and with huge amount of people on their country, so we can adopt and get the most of them as well.
yeah. So between the regions, learning from best practices between inside Mexico, perhaps even learn from different industries of how to apply this. At the end, also for sure to give options and to see the family issue. So a lot of variables here, and not a one size fits all approach. And this is at the end we need to filter out. So thank you very much for your attendance. And see you. I don't know if you want to join tomorrow. We have from 8 to 10 the session, like every Friday.
I'll try. I have a lot of work, but I try. Okay.
Yeah.
I still
So
have a
today
meeting with a customer right now, even it's late. Okay. See you.
See you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Hasta luego.
Tschüss.
Tschüss. Sorry.